Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we are live with Reality Check Live. Let's see, I'm waiting for it to boot up here. I'm getting a lot of wind. That wind noise is the fan, actually. Okay, I'm going to assume everything is running fine. And let's see, where's the public viewing view on watch page? No, I need to go back. And I need to view on watch page, open a new tab. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And we go over here. And we go over here. And we go to IRC to let everybody know, hey, I'm online again. And, yeah. Excuse me. Okay, I'm just letting everybody know live stream is up. And let's see here. Reality Check Live. Okay. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Reality Check Live. Okay. Do we have anybody? Do we have anybody? I don't know. Let's see here. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, I'm not going to give it very long. I'm kind of feeling under the weather, and I'm just really not feeling up to. But let's see here. PaintShop Pro. Wait for it to boot up. I got a ton of programs running all at the same time here. Okay, is anybody out there? Show me some love. Hey, Lord Firebeard, welcome aboard. Our grand teaming audience of one. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna. Let's see. Let's Twitter this up here. Let's see. Share. Facebook. Hopefully somebody will tune in. Twitter. Tweet. Google Plus. Google Plus. It's got to be like the annoying kid brother of Facebook, you know. Let's see. I do have a live journal. And post. There we go. Hey, they can watch it live too, right on my live stream. What are my live journal, rather? How nice. I don't have any of these other things, I don't think. So, pardon. I'll just leave it at that. Hello, Andrew Johnson. Welcome aboard. Okay, I'm tempted to use. I'm tempted to work on the newest Questor page, Space Ranger page, but not quite satisfied. It's just I'm still noodling over the stories. I still got strips to do for the old Vic. That's a little strip I illustrate for a friend of mine. I'll have to dig up the link here in a second. View grid. Let's see. I gotta listen. I spent most of the day listening to the Legend soundtrack, the Tangerine Dream one. There's supposed to be 2 soundtracks to that old movie Legend, and I've only heard one, to my knowledge. I watched Legend a couple of times. I've seen the TV edited version and the full version, and I don't know, it was okay, but a little pretentious, I think, is the best term for it. Little too much. Trying to convince everybody it's an epic sweeping saga or something. Excuse me a minute. Well, I mean, is it They push it real hard. You're trying to be all ethereal and symbolic and indicative of all things mystical and magical, and you sort of smother under all the fairy dust. You know what I'm saying? Tim Curry, though. Dang. Okay, let's see here. I'll pull up the Gmail. Oh, that's nice. Somebody made another pledge. Oh, a little addendum to the page. For those who don't know, I'm running a Kickstarter campaign. There's a meter on the front page of my website that shows how I'm doing so far. The idea is I'm trying to raise, this sounds a little overambitious, really. I'm trying to raise about 20,000. 20,000. Because I figure I ballparked it and I estimated after all the taxes and bills and fees and paying for the printing costs for the patrons of the Kickstarter and so on and so forth, and I figured it would leave just about minimum wage for a year, and that minimum wage is about 10-15 grand, which sounds like a lot until you realize that's got to last a whole year and it's got to cover everything. And this is, I'm saying after the IRS comes in and takes out a big chunk, it will be just enough to get through for a full year. Well, anyway, what I'm doing is I'm raising enough money so I'll be spending, if I reach my goal, I will be spending a year working and trying to produce two 100-page graphic novels, one for each comic strip, one for Tales of the Quest, one for Space Ranger. Now, donors who make Kickstarter donors who make $50 or more donation will receive a copy of each book. Hard copy print. Everybody who makes a donation will get a digital download. $50 or more gets you a copy of a hard copy of both the Quentin Quinn book and the Tales of the Questor book. I figure that, yeah. And those who make $100 pledge or higher get a signed copy of each. Got grease smear on my glasses and I can't find a tissue. Can't see. I am blind. But thus far, I've got 1,800 pledged, and here pledges per day to succeed. Pledges total today. 7 weeks to go. Might have been a little overambitious, but if 20 grand was the minimum I could estimate. But anyway, pass it along to your friends. Let your friends and family members know, and send them to my page. You can access. You click this. This goes to a big fancy page that shows the trending rate and all that, and you can access the Kickstarter campaign from there. Anyway, what was I looking for? Oh, mail. Yes. Let's see here. And somebody just made a $1 pledge to a year of Quest Wars, yes. Let's see. Ah, yes, this is for the illustration page. This is. Let me see here. I did front cover illustration. This is the cover I designed for Data Pack Rat for his story. And he's only got one test chapter up. Let's see here. Well, anyway, that was the cover I designed for him, which is rather nice of him to. Yeah, I don't see anything that needs changing. Let's see here. Okay, Oldvik. Okay. Drat, I really should have saved that hallway drawing as a background. That way I wouldn't have to keep re-rendering. Oh dear, let's see here. Just a second. Somebody just zipped me something here. Ah, Kickstarter thingy here. Well, I can't change the. Yep. Okay, well, he's gonna. Okay, this is some good ideas here. He's got some expansions that for ideas. Very nice. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Okay, I'll have to. I may just lift the whole darn list. Okay, I'll be adding a few extra donation ideas. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Yes. Um, what was I looking for? Oh yes. Keep losing track. I can't remember what I'm doing. But let's see here. Okay. If I'd known I was going to be reusing that drawing so much, would have made a. Just didn't think that through. Didn't really think that through when I made that first strip. Let's see. Commissions. Old Vic. The Old Victorian. Daniel Myers. Semi-autobiographical comic strip, which I illustrate for him. Three different strips, all using that same hallway scene. I really should have kept it as a background, as you can see there. If you grid, you can see right there. Let's see here. View grid. In case you're wondering where the music is, running on YouTube, can't use music. Not live streaming anyway, because they just have go into a vapor lock over it. Copyrights and all that. Really should have saved that as a background. Didn't do it. Now I got it. It's aggravating. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a traceable background. This. Grid, come on. You don't know why it erased the rulers there. You just don't understand some of these things. And zoom in. You know, actually, Let's see if I can't cut and paste here a little. I'll be blunt. I don't like redrawing the same thing over and over and over. Nobody likes that. Nobody enjoys that. You'd have to be a masochist. Let's see here. Starting to see why stick figure cartoons are becoming so popular. Okay. Now for a little patchwork. Okay. You know, people are trying to make a comparison between the Ebola crisis and, you know, the AIDS outbreak. And not in a sensible way either. What I mean is, okay, let's consider this, okay? Nobody wants to talk about it. But the AIDS outbreak, let's forget that, you know, gays had anything to do with it, okay? Let's forget the whole homosexual thing. Let's even forget the whole sexual thing, okay? Let's forget that the thing that sexual contact is how the dang thing is spread. All right? Now, the CDC was confronted with a 100% incurable, 100% lethal disease. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, this AIDS, you know, HIV, AIDS is a death sentence. And it's a 100% death sentence. That is worse than the Spanish flu. That is worse than the bird flu, the swine flu, Ebola. It's worse than anything that humanity has encountered as far as lethality is concerned. Cancer is not a 100% death, but this stuff is. It's a disease, 100% curable, 100% incurable, 100% lethal, and it is a slow, horrible, unpleasant death. And it is contagious. It can be borne through bodily fluids. And they were more concerned about people being prejudiced to the carriers than about preventing the disease from being spread. That is criminal negligence. That is negligence. It's malfeasance. It's deliberately doing something immoral, indecent, and harmful to others. And now they're trying to do the same thing with A.E. freaking Ebola. Something that doesn't take years to kill you so everybody forgets how you caught it. So, Ebola. They're trying to treat it, like a political football. And they're trying to convince people, oh, you're perfectly safe. You don't have to worry too much. There's only one person who's died from it. And every week, every day, at least twice a day, you get a new update that somebody has been found who has Ebola or has been quarantined because they've tested positive for it, and when the death deal was signed when they treated AIDS this way. It's horrible to say. It's unthinkable to say now. But. And it was unthinkable to say back then. What we should have done was quarantine. This is how you stop a disease from spreading. It doesn't matter why it's spread or how it's spread. You quarantine. It doesn't matter how sympathetic you are to the person who carries the disease. They are carrying a lethal, contagious disease, and the way to stop it is to quarantine. But we didn't quarantine, and the result was people died by the millions. And they're still dying. And they're playing the same political game with Ebola. This is what you call a slippery slope. This is a downhill ski slope here, folks. When you start, once you've started doing things that irrational, like refusing refusing to exercise the basic responsible measures for a lethal disease. A lethal, contagious disease. It's over. You've already gone to Crazy Town, and you're not coming back. They were criminally negligent with AIDS. They are now being criminally negligent with something that's a lot more graphic and immediate, and this should be no surprise. And they're doing it for the same reason: politics. Admitting that AIDS was a lethal, incurable disease that needed to be controlled would have been a political death sentence. For many politicians. Now they won't do it. Now it's too late. Well, technically it's not too late. They could still exercise quarantine, but it's about as likely as monkeys flying out my own rear end that anybody would ever have the temerity to actually do it. Nobody will have the temerity or tenacity or just plain guts to do that. And they're not going to do it with Ebola until thousands have died. Your survival is less important than their political ambitions. and we let it become that way. We should not be surprised when our government has no guts. We didn't force them to show some guts back when the threat was small, when it was a disease that was, while contagious and could be spread through transmission of bodily fluids, was not immediately lethal. We failed to demand guts from our leaders back then, and now we can't demand guts from them at all. You can't be surprised when you reward cowardice, you reward moral cowardice in your leaders decade after decade after decade, and they're going to give you more of what you give them, what you reward them with. You know, they don't have guts. They don't know how to have guts. They haven't needed guts in decades to get elected. This isn't entirely their fault. When you have a first past the post electoral system, it's not even a matter of ethics or politics or anything else. It's a basic issue of mathematics. When you have a first past the post electoral system, where the one with the most votes is the winner, it has to do with game theory. It doesn't matter what the policies are, what the politics are, what the issues are. No matter how you start out, when you have a first past the post system, it gravitates towards a two-party system, and the parties become more and more and more like each other. And it's basically unavoidable because of the way a first past the post system works. I've played the video before. Let me just. I've played the video before. There's let's see here. Let me pull it up here. First, the post voting. Okay, let me get the link for you. I'm not going to play it, but I'm going to post that link into the chat room channel so you can find it when you want to hear more about it. Comments can't contain links. Okay. I'm putting spaces in here so this stupid machine will... Okay, that's just, replace the dot with a period. You get the idea. Uh, it runs through. It basically boils down to uh, 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 this is what you get. That's the post voting system. You get two parties that are systematically and policy wise indistinguishable from one another. They may seem different, but their practice and their behavior is almost identical. There are other voting systems that are a lot better at keeping it from getting to that extreme, which is where we are. But it's an interesting study, but it's quite frankly not got much practical use because it's a little late to go back to the beginning and start the whole thing over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna get that list of I'm gonna get that list of ideas. I'm gonna use it for reward levels, I think. But uh, yeah. What was that program you were talking about? SketchUp? I think I've got that program. Let me look here. If I don't, I may download it. I want to look at these people that design these art programs and go, pretend there's somebody there that doesn't know Programming 101, Pretend that there's somebody who wants to use this program who has never worked in your industry, you know? They don't do that. They write these programs that you know how to do. All the thing, it's too steep a learning curve for somebody who's just trying to expand his tools. You know, I'm not looking to make Toy Story 4 here, okay? I just want to be able to sketch up some stuff real quick and easy. Hmm. Okay. View. Good. Okay, that's usable. Oh, come on. Oh, slow today. I'm mentally slow. Let's see. Okay. Going up. Going up. Going up. Whoops. Hold on. Let me see here. Just open. Oh. Okay. 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 Grid. Okay, let's see here, let's see here, let's see here. What am I looking for? Ah. SketchUp, SketchUp. I think I've got it. Yep, I got it. SketchUp. I've only fiddled around with it, and I'm still looking at it and go, could you please start the orange peel for me? You know. Now, the modeling system, I'll say this, I've said it before. Hold on, let me. Uh, okay, just updating it. I'm just telling people to put their replace the live stream link with the YouTube link. www.rhjunior.com. Live now. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Here. Okay, okay, okay. And okay, let's see what have I got? I think I've got some picture tubes that might work with this. Actually, let's see, watermelons. St. Patty's Day. And one that was a string of bats. That's what I'm looking for. Nope. Nope. Ah, here we go. Think of it as all these picture tubes. They have the little drop shadow behind them, even when they automatically inserted. And I don't know why they do that. See, little drop shadow. That doesn't work. Trying to make it look more realistic, Teehee. Just want to slap some people when they. All right, just do it by hand then. That's okay. Layers. Hmm. Huh? Huh. What? Uh. What? This makes no sense. Oh, I see what the problem is. Wasn't working right. I couldn't figure it out. Okay, yellow. Okay. Orange. Let's see here. Let's see if anything else. Come on. It's going to sit here and think it over. I hate it when it does that. Slowing down a bit. Come on, computer. Let's see here. It's curious. I always wondered who it was that got the whole Halloween lights thing started. I mean, Christmas lights is a very interesting story. Is supposedly they were invented by Martin Luther as a concept. He was on his way home, and late at night one Christmas season, and he looked up and saw stars shining down through the tree branches, and it was so beautiful that he wanted the family at home to see it. So the closest he could come was they had the Yule tree, took it and decorated it with candles. I don't know how true that story is, but for centuries, decorating the tree with candles was the norm. That colored light bulbs, and that changed rather quickly. Fire hazard, I believe the word is we're looking for. Anyway, I'd love to know who decided that, hey, let's take these leftover Christmas tree lights and put them up on Halloween. Because that's the first to my mind on Halloween, Christmas lights, you know. Let's see, I'm trying to take a little shortcut here. Yep. Edit. Copy. Edit. Paste this new selection. Image. Resize. Here. Minor factoid. Jack-o'-lanterns used to be carved out of turnips. They didn't have... Pumpkins are native to North America. They didn't have pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns back in the day in Europe. Pardon. Okay. Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie. Let's see here. trying to drop into my own channel. Let's see, I'm sorry I've been so quiet for so long. Looking for my... here we go. Yeah, I can see the comments, Ben. I've just been drawing. I have to hop back and forth. Having an argument with somebody about how evil stoning is. I would have to say that considering what the average Mideastern country stones people for, yeah, kind of a problem. Well, yes, they used stoning back then. But let's consider this. It was a stoning was a brutal form of execution. But that was kind of the point. The way to die, and it was a punishment that was reserved for what was regarded as the most severe crimes. Rape, murder. Adultery was also included in that list, but I submit to you that doesn't say that they were barbaric so much as it says that's how seriously they took the marriage oath. Fornication, sex out of wedlock had an entirely different series of punishments, just to clarify. Two unmarried people having sex, there was usually a punishment was marriage. Literally. The father would go, "Oh, she was good enough for you to sleep with. She's good enough to be your wife." And if they didn't go with that, if the father didn't want the two to marry, they would require the young man in question to pay her dowry. Because she was going, in that culture, she was not going to be. And so she was going to have to be cared for by her family. And after her family is gone, it was actually a sort of insurance that she would be provided for, despite not having a husband. But I'm wandering off the topic. Explain to me humane death. Okay, death, that is it, okay? If you're going to execute somebody, it should be horrifying. It should be a terrible way to die. Too much concern is given to the suffering of serial killers and mass murderers more to them than to their victims. You know, the people that say that the death penalty isn't a deterrent have never asked, have asked the people who would be deterred by it. Namely criminals. It wasn't all that long ago. They actually did this. They went out and they went to a prison. They asked a bunch of people who had committed robbery. Did you carry a weapon? A gun? And if so, why so? If not, why not? An astounding number of them said, no, I did not carry a gun. And asked why. And they said, man, you kill somebody, you get the chair in this county. you kill somebody in this state, you die. So it seems to me, surprise, it looks like it was pretty effective deterrent after all, wasn't it? It's a 110% cure for recidivism, too. If you murder someone, if you rape or murder, the penalty should be absolute, and it should be administered in a way that puts the fear of God Almighty into the hearts of anybody watching who has ever contemplated committing those acts. Stoning was a community effort too. It wasn't just one or two. It wasn't just one person throwing rocks at them. Ow, ow, ow. No, it was. They came out there and stoned this individual to death. It was an underlining of how this person's abominable act was reviled and shunned by the entire community. We didn't, our society didn't, their society did not hand over the duty to a masked executioner and then wash their hands of it and pretend they didn't have anything to do. I spent a lot of time arguing that this is just passing my thoughts. I argued a lot that what happened to those Guantanamo detainees who were waterboarded does not qualify as torture. Because quite frankly, if a news reporter, if one of those those blow-dried pansies is willing to undergo some waterboarding on TV for news ratings, I question the classification as torture. All right? Ask them if they'd like to take a couple of turns in the rack. Get a couple of hot branding irons. Here, you want to up the ratings a little? Oh, no. Waterboarding? Oh, they're fine with that. Yeah, and then they're trying to convince us that it was unspeakable torture. Their TV show is unspeakable torture. But let's say it does qualify as torture. The next question should be, so what? This wasn't done out of idle sadism, okay? We weren't waterboarding these guys for kicks and giggles. These were the head honchos of Al Qaeda. They had information, and there was no way they did not have that information. They had information that was the life or death of American soldiers and Iraqi civilians. And all other tactics and techniques to break them and to get them to spill had failed. Innocent people's lives were in the balance. Furthermore, the Geneva Convention, people forget that there are two sides to the Geneva Convention, okay? The Geneva Convention doesn't just outline what civilized countries are not supposed to do in warfare. It also outlines the consequences if you're not a civilized combatant. The terrorists in Gitmo violated the provisions in the Geneva Convention. They deliberately disqualified themselves from any protection by it. The Geneva Convention states that unlawful combatants sucks to be you know. That their treatment under the law, they could be shot on the spot for anything and or for nothing. They shouldn't have denied. They shouldn't have tried denying it was fine. We tortured them. So what? They should have said these people, these terrorists, violated the Geneva Convention, and according to the Geneva Convention, that there is no holds barred on how they are treated. We have treated them with an exceptional mercy that they are not even guaranteed by law. We have showed them above and beyond. What they are entitled to, which is nothing. They used civilians as bullet shields. They disguised themselves as civilians. They ambushed medics. They would pretend to be wounded or dying, and when the medics came near, they would kill them. They attacked under a flag of surrender, and they committed tortures and atrocities on civilians. The list goes on and on. According to the Geneva Convention, we could have tossed them into a wood chipper, and the law would have had nothing to say with it. That's how brutal and final Yeah, we didn't even have to put them in Gitmo. We could have just chucked them out of the airplane on the way there. And the Geneva Convention would have had nothing to say about it. They're eating gourmet meals and getting their Korans handed to them by soldiers wearing white gloves so that they're not contaminated by the infidels' touch. You know what's brutally, desperately tragic? Is that Guantanamo is in Cuba. There are people in Cuba who were literally trying to break into Gitmo to escape Cuba. They had one instance where one soldier described it. There's a bunch of them. They have a minefield around there. A minefield around Gitmo. And there was a bunch of the peasants from that island. They tried to cross it. And it was the most pathetic thing he'd ever seen. These poor, desperate people trying to get into Gitmo to get away from the crap hole that is communist Cuba. One of them had already died. He'd taken a misstep and stepped on a landmine, and the rest of them just frozen there out in the middle of the field, just desperation on their faces, just meters away from freedom. You know, the average Gitmo detainee actually gains weight while he's there. Yeah, he packs on about 10-20 pounds. Because it's the first time they've had nutritious food in their lives. That's how Islam works. It gets desperately... It has perfumed princes in its top ranks, and the ones who strap bombs to themselves or charge armored vehicles with nothing but rocks in their hands are the desperately poor. You'll never see Osama out there charging an entrenchment with a bomb strapped to him. And it's usually rich, spoiled SOBs who head up these little factions, quote unquote, of Islam. We got people who are living in Candyland. We are fighting a war. We are fighting a brutal war. And in a brutal war, you're going to, both sides, the good guys are going to have to do brutal things. Because the alternative is to let absolute savages rampage across the planet. War is hell, but there are things that are even worse than war. Life under the boot heel of Islam would be one of them. but we haven't got anybody people to consider. They get squeamish. They have somebody who, they had one guy, they have somebody who rapes and murders little children, and they are too squeamish to put him to death. They're perfectly comfortable with an abortion mill that kills 1 million children a year, but they can't, but they can't bring themselves to execute this poor, tragic figure who slaughters children. We got a bunch of lily guts. War, executions should be horrible. That's what keeps people from doing things that earn them. Executing a murderer should be a gruesome thing. It should be an unpleasant death. War should be horrible. For the same reason, we should not try to lily pad and cushion and soften war. We should strive to avoid harming the innocent, but those who raise their hand against us should face a terrible fate. We forgot that years ago. After World War II, nobody wanted to be that horrible ever again. They forgot that it wasn't the winners, in that case, who were horrible. That we had to wage a terrible war against an even more horrible enemy. Have you ever read the book The Mouse That Roared? The Mouse That Roared it's part of a series, actually. The Mouse That Roared, The Mouse on the Moon. I believe there's a couple of more books in the series, but I've read those two. Love it. It's about a little bitty country called the Duchy of Grand Fenwick. It's so small, it's literally measured in like maybe a dozen square miles. Itty bitty. But it has its dependency. It's a fictional country. It's in the middle of Europe. And they were in desperate trouble financially because they had only one export, and that was their Duchy of Grand Fenwick wine. And suddenly the sales fell through the floor. And the Duchess, who ruled the country, was desperate to find out a solution, try to find what to do. And her best advisor, who was also the, as I recall, the forest ranger for their national forest, which was about an acre. Anyway, he advises her that the best thing they could do was go to war with America. And she doesn't believe his ears, and then he finally gives her a reason. Her and her advisors a reason. He pulls out a bottle of wine from a California vintner that is a blatant ripoff of theirs, right down to the label. And they declare war on the United States on the spot. The thing of it is, they don't even have guns. Their entire army consists of maybe a dozen men with chain mail and longbows because they inherited them from their ancestors. And so they go to America, and what they don't realize is that they are attacking New York City at the same time that New York City is holding a massive air raid drill. Just as it was part of a program to show that they could prepare for a nuclear war, and they march into the city, and they find and capture one man who turns out to be a nuclear physicist who was working at the time on a new type of atomic bomb that was thousands of times more powerful than anything that had been invented yet. He even had the darn thing sitting there in his lab. And they capture him, and they capture the bomb, and they get back home and discover, and it takes everybody hours to figure out what the heck happened in both the American government and in Grand Fenwick, and they discover to their horror that both governments are horrified to realize that the Duchy of Grand Fenwick declared war on the United States. It was ignored because it was thought to be a prank. And it appears that the Duchy of Grand Fenwick won because they had captured their most preeminent nuclear physicist and the most powerful weapon in the United States arsenal. And it gets more ludicrous from there on out, believe it or not. It's a great read, but it makes an interesting point, is that America got it backwards. Okay, everybody loves the Marshall Plan and all the programs we did to rebuild Europe, but the wrong message got out. The wrong message got out is that the fastest, other nations observe that the fastest way to get a big juicy handout from the richest country in the world was to be belligerent with them. What we've been dealing with North Korea, for example. The man has been, Kim Jong, the frizzy head guy that came before the current one, and the current one's apparently missing now. Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-jin, Clop Bang, Clip Wang, the amazing Chia dictator. Over and over again for decades now, literally, they've been doing this routine. Give us, we're gonna nuke y'all. Give us some money. And the countries around the world have been doing it. We've been doing it since Carter. The Muslims have been doing the same thing. The Islamic countries. They get tons and tons and tons of financial aid from the United States. And in their case, it's a bigger problem because in Middle Eastern culture, only a subject state gives money to another nation. From their perspective, is a bunch. We're paper tiger. From their perspective, because they see our charity as a sign of weakness, that we are trying to appease them with our money. And this is why they get more and more belligerent with us every year. After we invaded Iraq, one of the other nations, what was his name? Not the Ayatollah, Gaddafi. Gaddafi immediately started cooperating. He had been just as obstructive towards weapons inspections and such as Saddam Hussein had been. Then he saw us go in there and clean Saddam Hussein's clock, and he got very, very cooperative. And he outright said he did not want to happen to him what happened to Saddam. There you have it in a nutshell. It's one of the terrible tragedies of life, but this is reality. Compassion and a reluctance to go to war are seen as weaknesses. Being soft with your enemy is seen as a weakness, and it's a weakness to be exploited. And it becomes an invitation to be attacked. Perceived weakness is just as fatal as any real weakness. Ronald Reagan pointed out in the course of his life, America had gotten involved in 3 wars, and not a one of them was because America was excessively strong. Every time a war has come up, it's caught us flat-footed. Why? Because the instant a war is over, self-serving politicians try and convince everybody that we can turn the guns back into butter. For those who don't know what that reference is, basically the idea is that guns and butter is the expression of how a nation chooses its priorities. This is why we have millions of dollars. We have enough scrapped vehicles and weapons, tanks, planes, and more in the boneyards of the U.S. military to equip an entire army of another country. We have the government branches tossing stuff unused into these scrap heaps. They had an article recently, a multi-million-dollar planes. They never even used for what they were intended. Never used at all. And the military scrap, literally turned them into scrap. That was worth less than 1/10 of what they spent getting the darn planes. They didn't resell. They could have resold them. They could have put them to. You can't tell me there isn't someplace somewhere where they could have used those cargo planes. Nope, not our government. And every time we've had a war, we downsize. Entire military bases go up in smoke. And then somebody else attacks, and surprise, we're understaffed. We don't want to finish the job, and we want to pretend the job will never come up again. Well, he thinks the Bible is horrible because it uses stoning as punishment. He ought to take a look at how other civilizations punished people. This was people keep forgetting. Keep forgetting this. Is that God called the people of Israel out of Egypt? It was the depths of the Bronze Age. I mean, it was, back to the trees time, to use the popular phrase. He was starting out with a Bronze Age people that had lived as slaves in a nation of unbelievable barbarity. And yet that barbaric nation was considered the most advanced at the time. The surrounding nations around Egypt, monstrous, horrifying. When God gave the law to the Hebrew people, he was giving them he was basically giving them the bare minimum for two purposes. The purpose of the law was to illustrate, yes, that we are all guilty. We have fallen short of the glory of God. All of us. There is none righteous. That was its primary purpose. Its secondary purpose, which was a parallel, was to lift the Hebrew people up out of Bronze Age savagery. The thing, everybody talks about how barbaric the Old Testament Hebrew nation was. They're comparing it to a 21st century culture. After after about 4,000 or 5,000 years of painful climbing up out of the darkness, we're going to look back and go, that was horrible. But compared to any other nation on earth, ancient Israel was a shining beacon of justice, freedom, and sanity. Everybody talks, they could stone children to death. Of note, there is not a single recorded instance in all of Israel's history, even its ancient history, of a single child being stoned. People forget that in that day and age, you could kill your kids for anything or nothing. The Old Testament law didn't give them the permission to kill their kids. It was restricting them. It was saying you can only execute your child under this circumstance. And you have to go through this, and this for it to even look like it's going to happen. The parents the parents couldn't just push the kid off a cliff or leave him out in the wilderness to starve, like the practice was in some countries. They had to take the kid and they had to go to the elders of the tribe and say, this child is uncontrollable. We can do nothing with him. And the elders had to agree with them. It literally took agreeing, and it literally took the entire civilization essentially agreeing that the child needed to die, which is a pretty good indicator of why it never happened. Was what the law was for. It was to put a stop to people killing their children and sacrificing them to pagan gods and all the other things that were going on everywhere else in the world. The legal protections that the Old Testament law gave to women, to children, to slaves, and to and every so-called underclass in a society, those protections did not exist anywhere else on earth. Of course, it looks savage by comparing to us today. They were just starting. They were just coming up off of the starting blocks. A few thousand years of prophets and priests and of the Messiah himself made for a lot of difference. Heck, they didn't even have sanitation back then until the Hebrews were given it as a commandment of the law. Now, I'll be right back in just a second. Nature calls. Back again, again. Come here. I'm going to look up here as free music. Let's see, live control room. Broadcast alert. Ah. Oh, those are useful. I'll have to remember that. I have no idea what a slate is. Ads. Yes. Yes, it was. My stomach is acting up. You can draw the details from there. I've got, let's see here, 3 more days before grocery shopping. I really hope, I really hope this Kickstarter works. The Kickstarter failed for Sanguine Chronicles. I feel bad about that. I haven't really been. I've got it open right here. I've got it right here. I've been poking away at it, and I'm just really not sure. I think I overreached with the plot. Having the first volume probably should have been him just dealing with a gang of vampire wannabe vampire lords. But the second layer I've added to the plot is sort of making it a bit overwrought. By giving the goth band, I don't know if you follow it. I've been writing on and off, mostly off lately. The Sanguine Chronicles, which is basically a story about a young man who was, before his birth, infected both with vampire and werewolf plagues. Each other out, but not him into what he Stigoi, half vampire, half werewolf. Okay, whoop. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and paste that in there. Oh, darn it. Let's see, here we go. Context. Yeah. I'm really not up to watching this guy. I know what he's going to do. Rather not deal with it. Not up to it. Feeling kind of queasy, actually. A little tummy upset. That's why I took so long on that break. Really, let me see here if I can find some free music to listen to. Royalty-free music for YouTube. Free copyright. Okay, let's see here. No, they're not just going to post a link. No. You got to watch a whole darn video. That's only 5 minutes long. Hey. That was loud. Let's see, 20. Okay. Best music for. Can you all hear that? Yeah, well, the problem is that you gotta play it, and you gotta play it on YouTube, and I'll fool you on it. Place your bets on whether they pull this video after it's done, because despite the fact that I'm playing a royalty-free YouTube music video in the background. Can you hear anything? Can you hear any music? Encoding log, encoding options, headset, microphone. I'm trying to see if this has any, do we have any music? It's audio. Do you hear something now? Testing. Yeah. Okay, I'm listening to this music and I'm not hearing nothing. Oh, well, fudge. Apparently I can't play this in the background because it's... Oh, great. It's just music. It just doesn't work. You can see my desktop, but you can't hear anything that plays on it. Yeah, so basically I can't play any videos on the show. Oh, well. There's probably a way to do it here, as you see here. Audio playlist. And let's see, playlist. Oh, here we go. That's full screen. That's playlist. That's a video playlist. It's not what I'm looking for. And, okay, this doesn't work either. It's I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so confused. Oh well, so until I can figure out, I'll have to get. I don't know. Maybe I gotta get a DVD or something and play on it. Anyway, what I was saying is the Kickstarter for the Sanguine Chronicles. I wanted to, I just wanted to focus on spend 1 year just doing nothing but writing that, and that it's, it generate any interest. Not enough interest to make it fly as a Kickstarter anyway. But yeah. I'm going to add this. He's got a nice list of good ideas. I'm going to add those as rewards for the Kickstarter. Hopefully that will juice up some more interest. Feeling some gut rumbles right now. Not been eating too well. Hope I didn't catch nothing. I'm a nasty individual. I live in a house that's just nasty, I swear. I never vacuum. I never clean. I'm disgusting. It's bad when you have to clean one room in stages because you exhaust yourself just doing part of it. It's a room barely big enough, my bathroom just eeny teeny, and I still haven't gotten it clean in days. I do a bit of it at a time, and it's, Sort of on the dole at the moment. Just not exactly a proud moment for me, but at least the help is there, you know. Just now that's a question of hypocrisy. Uh, you know, Ayn Rand, her on Social Security and Medicaid. I'm on Medicaid and I'm on food stamps now. Well, they give you a card now, but you know, same thing. She made the point that the only people who have a moral justification for use, you know, it's not hypocritical. She argued. In fact, the only people who have a moral justification to take advantage of such programs are those that oppose them. Because they are the only ones who opposed the legalized plunder. Everybody who voted for it is a participant in the theft. Furthermore, that the person who voted against it was an unwilling participant in not only in the plundering, but in being plundered themselves. There are millions of people who voted against. I'm sure there were millions of people who voted against Social Security who are on Social Security today. Quite cruelly, sometimes there's no other option. Every working year of my life, though, I paid taxes. The majority of which were spent on folly. So I'm a little hard-pressed to feel completely guilty about using welfare now. I should probably try and apply for disability because of my physical condition. I am, it's not just being overweight. If it was just me being fat, that would be one thing. I've got like, a nice startup collection of physical problems. The most obvious one being my lymphedema. Ironically, if this Kickstarter comes through, I will be off the dole. I don't know how to feel about that. I really don't. I really don't know. What is the ethical course to take? The most ethical. You know, the only work that I really qualify for, I cannot physically do anymore. I'm only really qualified for retail and fast food work. I'm unskilled labor. But I literally cannot, I can't stand for 6 to 8 hours a day anymore. I can't even stand for 15 minutes. Either getting, arguably, if I lose all this tonnage, I will be able to do work like that again, regular work. That's hardly a solution. I'm not getting any younger. everybody's, one of the options people list is go back to school, but I'm at a little bit of a loss as to what I'm supposed to do in the meanwhile. Getting a new education, or getting getting physically fit, or both, frankly, will take at least a couple of years, just to at least a year or a couple of years. And in the meanwhile, you still got to pay the rent, keep the lights on. What do you do until you have that diploma or degree? I'm not trying to be a whiner here. I'm not trying to, I don't want to be a whiner. I'm just trying to think my way through this. Yeah, I've painted myself into a corner, and I'm really, sitting there going, okay. Until the paint dries, but the house is on fire. you know. I really don't have confidence in myself that I could handle, uh, you know, two jobs at the same time, or doing one job and then doing the education things on the side, or whatever. Um, I need to find a better course of action. I'm in my 40s. I'm literally old enough to be a grandfather now. And I have less control over my life than somebody one half my age. I say 1/10. Oh, good grief. There's exaggerating for effect, and there's being ridiculous. But being lazy has terrible. If you're lazy long enough, pretty soon don't want to do it becomes can't do it. You follow what I'm saying? This is it. This is the only thing I have. This is the only thing that I can do well, and that I can do, without turning my life upside down, or going into debt, or So this is what I do. And I'm not very good at it. I mean, I can do the drawing okay enough, but the business end of things, I'm terrible at it. This is where I come to. This is the conclusion I come to every time I sit down and ponder this. Uh, the only answer I have is just keep plugging at what I'm doing. Because all the other bridges are pretty much burned through. If I can't manage this, there's not going to be much that can be done for me. I've got him in the way of the pumpkins. Went to all the trouble of drawing those two pumpkins in the corner, and he's blocking the view to them. Let's see if I can move him over a little. Let's see, move them both over a little. Oops. Undo. Edit. Undo. Undo. Okay. Here. It's interesting the flaws that show. Look how thick his arm is. I've done that a lot of times. I'll spend hours working on a background detail, and then I'll come back in and realize that I've covered it up with another layer. I'm like, argh! No, I want the little leafy patterns in the back to show up in the front when I'm done with the picture. But nine. When I put the little mousy person standing in the front, he blocks it with his tail. You know, that kind of thing. And now for a German artistic commentary. You like? I don't care if you like. You know, there we go. Hello, Daniel. Still working on your picture. Yay. Big yawn. I want to finish this up before I shut down for the night. At least the drawing. I'll put the text on later, maybe. You know, I'm thinking this page would actually go better without any text at all. Just a thought. Let me just finish this up here. Take a look and see what we think here. Forgot their noses. Get the nose. Undo layers, merge all. Okay. We're getting along fine. Let's see. Danny, I'm thinking just leave this without any text. It delivers the punchline better. Zoom in. Okay, what am I? Trying to think, and nothing's happening. Yeah. Okay, get that. And yeah, there we go. This has got to be some unnerving type of quiet. I'm going to take around and see if I can't have some sort of music stream next time tomorrow. Uh, let's see. Let's have a little background. There's the idea filters. It's patterns. Come on. Oh, gotta add that to the first. Don't know why it takes it so long to think that over. Fill pattern, there we go. Some of these are doubled over. I don't know how to fix it either. Blue. Something lighter. Okay. Save as. Cancel file. Save. Keeping them as PSP files as well as PNG files, that way I can, well, no particular advantage to it really, but so let's see here. Let's see here. 634, 35, save. Effects, plugins, Redfield Perfectum. Alrighty then. It's almost done. It's taking it a minute to finish the plugin and then save, and then I'll email it to you. Okay. Saving. And now emailing. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Run. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and sending. Should be arriving in your mail right now. Alright. Okay, it is 9:22. And it's been a long day. It's going to be a long day. I think I will call that a night. Whoops. Forgot his nose. Let me resend that to you. It is terrible. Without a nose, how would he smell? Terrible. Okay. So you got one with and one without nose. There you go. Alrighty then. I'm going to call it a night. It is. I will see you guys tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Try and make some headway on the comics. I am sorry about that last Saturday strip getting to you late. I thought I mailed it to you and it made an error. But we'll take it from there. As always, it's me signing out, saying say a prayer for me, because the good Lord knows I need them. You all have yourselves a good night.